I believe there's a storm coming here, and I don't know when it was going to hit, but it will be catastrophic.
This is a real issue in our nation. We've got 700 to 1,000 ash basins that need closed.
We're acknowledging the serious health risks that coal ash poses, but there's not protective enough regulations.
What happens to our future generations? We shouldn't have to harbor toxic waste from another state. That is so unjust. There comes some trucks here up the road. Well, this is the facility to hold their trucks that transport the coal ash. I'm a real estate broker and I work banks in surrounding counties. You can see the coal ash on top of the mountain there. I have sold property up and down this road right here. That was one of the concerns. One of the people that bought close to 50 acres said that they looked it up on the maps and the information on the landfill, and they were very concerned about how much coal ash was going to be brought in. Pledging as a realtor is to protect the individual right of real estate ownership and to widen the opportunity to enjoy it. To me, it means everybody has the right to enjoy their property. I have lived in Banks County since 1976. We have a lot of people that farm here. Very big poultry industry in our county. Now we got coal ash and a large municipal landfill. Is this what we want for Banks County?
All righty. Nothing like a mid-morning snack, is it? I was raised in a farming family. I married a girl from here. We worked this land to get it to where it is today. There's a lot of pride in that. Being a farmer, having chickens and cows, I'm concerned about the water table. That's why you got to worry about the coal ash that's being dumped and the long-term effect on the citizens of Banks County and really Northeast Georgia.
Coal ash exists wherever power companies had coal-fired power generating plants. Over the years, the volume of the coal ash residue has grown to the point where it is huge. Millions of tons of coal ash.
Typically, coal ash has been stored on site at power plants in these unlined pits. What can happen is they fill with rainwater that mixes in with the coal ash waste, and then you see that slowly infiltrate into the groundwater or reach into surface water.
So from Duke Energy's perspective, the science doesn't support regulating coal ash as a hazardous material. Coal ash, generally speaking, contains the same substances that you would find in rocks and soil, maybe in slightly higher quantities. So really, these terms of toxicity is used to create emotional responses in people, but it's not really based in science and fact.
In my estimation, and in the scientists and the folks that I have worked with, it doesn't make sense. Heavy metals are proven to be carcinogen and bad for human health.
The landfills have been here for the last 20-something years. It started out to be county waste only. Then waste management came along. That supposedly was the golden calf.
I saw a post come across social media that talked about the coal ash was being shipped to the landfill. I was like, really?
All of a sudden, all these side drunk trailers started showing up in the county. Went from a few big trucks a day, and then all of a sudden 15 a day. You can sit on my front porch and watch somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 trucks go by a day. It's unbelievable now.
This spill of coal and ash from a retired Duke Energy power plant coated an 80-mile stretch of the Dan River with toxic sludge.
So in 2014, along the Dan River in North Carolina, there was a massive spill of coal ash from a Duke Energy power plant that led to just millions of tons of hazardous sludge to be released into the Dan River, and it had severe environmental impacts that they're still dealing with today.
The massive spill here was the third largest of its kind.
Some families using bottled water to bathe, drink, and cook.
These are fish found in Sutton Lake near Wilmington after coal ash seepages contaminated the water there.
That was an event that we took immediate accountability for. It was really unfortunate that it happened, but I can say with a lot of confidence that the company took a lot of lessons from it. Then North Carolina, in the fall of 2014, passed really the most aggressive coal ash regulation in the nation at the time that required us to excavate or relocate all of the material from a few high-priority ash basins in the state, and we had 5 years to be able to meet those deadlines. And so we had to move quickly to try to find landfills that could accommodate this material.
And because of our very low tip fees, Georgia has become a very attractive place financially for entities like Duke Power in North Carolina to bring their coal ash into Georgia because it's cheap to do so.
This report says Georgia has become a southern dumping destination for coal ash and more is on the way. It's pretty devastating to know that and know it's here. In 2005, the landfill wanted to expand. We're talking a lot of money coming in, to bring trash to Banks County. I just remember the emotion of we've got to do something. We couldn't just sit idly by and allow it just to expand just because they wanted to. The people in the county got together to sign petitions that they did not want the landfill to expand in Banks County. The night of the commission's meeting to allow the new zoning, Waste Management had spokespersons and attorneys from their side. You've got people saying, no, you're not going to be able to defeat them because they're a big company and they've got endless funds to be able to fight the county. Everybody got up and made their plea as to why they felt like a landfill expansion should not be allowed.
Having money and influence does not make a good citizen.
We didn't know if we had a chance or not, but we knew that we had grounds that they shouldn't be able to expand.
Therefore, I petition the commissioners to abide by their oath of office to protect the public health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of Banks County.
This time I would ask for a motion for approval or denial. All in favor say aye. Motion is carried.
They voted no. It was like David and Goliath. So many good people, trying to help with it. For the time being, it was stopped. So the next thing was we found out that there was probably going to be a lawsuit. It was devastating. It was really devastating. We have fought together to preserve the environment of a place we call home. Why else do you do it? It's family and friends. Why else would you want to put yourself out there, but how do you just keep fighting? You don't want to lose people, or people be sick or health affected, when something like this threatens your community. We don't do this full time. We don't make money at trying to fight these things or speak out on these things. This is things that are personal to us because we live here. Our children live here.
Trash business is big business with a lot of money involved. These large corporations have teams of lawyers, unlimited budgets to fight for their causes. These poorer counties do become targets.
Landfills come into these communities where less politically powerful citizens live and are less likely to really mount a strong opposition. Despite the fact that these landfills all have liners, the risk of storing coal ash lasts for decades. And we don't know that these landfills are best situated to handle that for the long haul. The best option would be for them to store this material on hazardous waste landfills on their property, well away from the waterways.
I'm here this evening to present to you HB 879.
I've been carrying coal ash legislation for the last 4 years, just establishing minimum standards that give us some reasonable assurance of proper, safe, long-term storage of highly toxic coal ash.
90% of Georgians support this measure.
Every piece of legislation that I sponsored was killed. Every piece.
Utilities wield a lot of power. They're often close to monopolies, and combining them with the landfill operators, there's a lot of political sway there.
When that translates over into controlling the actions of elected officials, then we are thwarting the legislative process. The efforts that we would have to undertake legislatively would be much easier to fulfill if the EPA would classify coal ash as hazardous waste.
I hate to say this, but I think sometimes elected officials think the people are dumb. I ain't stupid. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. They're supposed to be there for the people. That's what we've lost sight of. One of the main reasons this land is up for sale is the landfill. My son owned the house next to us, and he sold it and moved. He was actually scared to live here any longer. That ran him away from me, which I resent. To lose Matthew, somebody that I wouldn't have to leave here in the evenings to go check the cows, because when he came home, he'd check the cows. We worked as a family, we played as a family, and that part of it is gone. And I don't know that that's gonna come back.
If Duke Energy is going to produce it, if they're going to make money off of it, then they need to have their own facilities and stop shipping it everywhere else.
If coal ash isn't bad, why didn't they bury it up there? If it's not going to hurt anybody, why send it down here? Because there is something wrong. So my question is, why would you send it down here knowing that all you're doing is shifting the problem from North Carolina to a little small county in northeast Georgia? For us, it's like a nail in the coffin, because we're going to take your problem.
Can you guys guarantee that there won't be another Dan River in Georgia? Could you tell the Banks County community that?
Can all of us say that there won't ever be, a challenge in the future? I don't think anybody can say that. That's the nature of the energy business. Maybe we can't all agree, but I think we need to get to a more adult place in the United States in general, where we can all have good dialogue, because we've got 700 to 1,000 ash basins across the U.S. that need closed.
This is the biggest thing facing the country. What are we going to do with all this trash we're accumulating? Big man put us here to try to be the steward of the world. We have failed miserably. A generation from now will end up trying their best to figure out, how do we stop this?